Thank you for joining us for Public Safety Echo. The Public Safety Echo project is the world's first of its kind effort to use the Echo model to address safety issues by bringing residents, workers, and businesses together in an online social and professional space to share skills, increase knowledge, and solve problems. In weekly sessions, Public Safety Echo teaches skills, educates partners in different aspects of a healthy community, and empowers community members.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I was waiting for an officer to sign on, but I don't see him, so I will just get us started with our welcome to the Downtown Public Safety Echo. I, of course, am Daryl Deloach, your Public Safety Echo Coordinator. I'll let you know that please turn on your cameras. Echo is all about all teach, all learn. We hope that you plan on participating fully. Please take a minute to type your name and organization into the email. Please do that, or excuse me, into the chat. Please do that so that we can get all the information about who is joining us today. I won't go into the introductions with everybody who is on the call with us today. I'll just sort of focus on our presenters who are here and those who are in the studio with me. So remember to update your name and everything in the display, please, and be sure your mic is muted until you're ready to speak. If you're calling in, you can use *6 to control your mute. The Downtown Public Safety's goal is to increase safety by bringing residents, workers, visitors, business together in an online social space to share skills, increase knowledge, and solve problems. Any views expressed by police officers or participating city officials are not meant to give legal advice and are not meant to educate, are not meant to give legal advice, are only meant to educate and provide insight into the discussion. Today's presentation will be the Real-Time Crime Center, presented by Deputy Commander Andrew Rodriguez, as well as a variety of his staff that is up there at the Real-Time Crime Center. And then a case discussion is just how do cameras help us stop crime? This is a reminder, please identify yourself before you speak. Raise your hands either on screen or hit the raise hand option. Usually you can just shout it out. We'll be keeping an eye out for you. Don't hesitate to chat your questions as well to the group. And anything else, I'll just cover our communication guidelines real quick. Be hard on the issues, easy on the people. Please be respectful in the chat as you would be face-to-face. Identify yourself when speaking. Listen to learn, speak to understand, stay on topic, to respect the agenda and time constraints, respect the speaker, respect the listener, and please consider one comment or question at a time to give others a chance to participate. Be kind, let's have some fun as well. All right, thank you everybody for joining us. I was gonna just mention, I don't have any official announcements going on other than this is the final weekend of Shakespeare in the Park, if you're a fan of Shakespeare, at the Veterans Memorial Park, 7:30 tonight, Friday and Saturday, and yours truly will be playing Othello if you're interested. But I would like to open it up to those people on the chat who might have some information to share with us. But first, let me just jump right into our introductions with our presenter today, Commander Rodriguez. Can you go ahead and unmute and tell us a little about who's there with you?
Hi, I'm Andrew Rodriguez. I'm a deputy commander with the Albuquerque Police Department. I'm assigned to the Real-Time Crime Center, where, if you know where the Emergency Communications Center is, we're in the same building out in the far reaches of the city. Sitting right next to me is Fouad Shirar. He is the bridge manager over our live operations. And also online, you'll see her designated as Real-Time Crime Center, is Michelle Dapson. She is our Crime Analysis Unit Supervisor. She currently oversees both the field analyst as well as the intel analyst.
Well, thank you very much. And I was going to go ahead and let the people that are here in the audience with me go ahead and introduce themselves real quick.
Hi, Markella Clinton. I am one of the field representatives for the mayor's office. I try to attend these meetings as regularly as I can to know what's going on in the community and be up to date on the public safety needs.
Thank you. It's always good to have you.
Hi, I'm Jerry Bowe. I'm a resident in the downtown historic section. As former transit analyst for the Rail Runner, and after going through prostate cancer last year, I'm now on the board of the Prostate Cancer Support Association of New Mexico.
Thank you for joining us, Jerry. Always good to have you as well. All right. I see people have put their information in the chat. I definitely appreciate that. But I did want to open it up to anyone in the chat. I see some friends from UNM as well as parking there. Does anyone have anything going on that they want to use this opportunity to share with us? You can raise your hand or just speak out loud. It seems like Oh,
Hey, Daryl.
there, Maria, hey.
Hey, I wanted to let you all know that we are collecting school supplies for the children who are in our family shelter. And most of the libraries are collecting them. But if you don't want to go to the library, you can always email me at mwolfe, MWOLFE, at cabq.gov. And we'll arrange a pickup. We need the standard school supplies, and we're trying to make sure that all of our kids that are staying at our family shelter have a really good setup to kick off the school year.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah, definitely those school supplies.
I'll also put a link in the chat for the Amazon wish list for those items.
Oh, wow, that sounds fun. It'll make it easier. Good, good. Yeah, drop that in the chat for us, Maria. I appreciate that. Anyone else there with anything that they want us to share with the community? I think we are good. All right. If that is the case, I was going to just move directly into our presentation today. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions and stuff as we go through it. Technology is, this day and age, developing faster than most of us can keep track, hopefully in a direction that helps us solve problems and be more productive. Our real-time crime center is just that, the actual eyes and ears that are looking and listening out for everybody's safety. We have Deputy Commander Rodriguez, as well as some of his staff on Zoom today to tell us more about how all this works. I'll just turn it over to you, Commander.
Great, thank you. I introduced Fouad and I introduced Michelle. Jordan McDonald also joined us. She is our manager of data-driven policing. So she manages all of our databases and is our in-house troubleshooting expert whenever there's a problem that comes up and we have specific sets of data that none of us can figure out. She usually is able to figure it out for us. So at the Real-Time Crime Center, we are split into two groups. One is the live operations side, and that's what Fouad is here to talk about, and he'll explain a little bit about what they do, what types of crimes they're involved in helping to solve, and also the programs that they have, like the multitude of cameras that we have throughout the entire city, how they're used. I'm sure there's probably some privacy concerns with that. We'll talk a little bit about the drone as a first responder program that we have ongoing that we're about to really leap forward on. And then on the other side of the Real-Time Crime Center is our crime analysis unit. Our crime analysis unit is exactly that. We provide the data analytics for the entire department. We identify crime trends. We provide maps. We provide details about specific crimes that maybe got missed somewhere along the line. We also hold the department accountable through our own ComStat program that we call Duke City Stats. And we facilitate a meeting every week where the area commanders, the investigative commanders are sort of put on the hot spot and asked about crime trends and about specific crimes that may have occurred throughout the entire city. And they need to be able to provide a status update, where we're at with it, if it's solvable, if what measures have we put in place to decrease crime, to handle a specific problem. And so we're that linchpin in there that, as I said, keeps the department accountable. So I'll turn it over here to Fouad. He's sitting right next to me, and I believe we're going to play a video in just a bit.
All right.
Go ahead, Fouad.
How's it going? For those who are just joining, my name is Fouad Sharir. I am the manager for the Real-Time Crime Center. So out here in the Real-Time Crime Center, we call the Bridge, which is where live operations occur. That is staffed 24/7, 365 days a year. We have about 14 RTCC operators that work on 3 different shifts, starting at day shift, swing shift, graveyard. They assist with various calls. These calls may include stolen vehicles, homicides, domestic violence incidents, or just simple camera checks for road rage incidents or disturbances at various intersections throughout the city. We utilize different forms of technology, which may include ShotSpotter, ALPR, our video camera system, and several reporting management systems to help us do background checks. These background checks we're completing, we're providing them to the officers to improve their situational awareness. Our whole goal at the RTC is to improve public safety, and we do that through enhancing situational awareness. As officers gain more information when they're en route to a call, this provides them with an opportunity to change directions in terms of creating a new plan that's more safer for the citizens and as they respond to different calls of service. We're also starting a drone as a first responder program. That program is looking to enhance public safety as well. It's going to act as a force multiplier for the city, respond to calls for service a lot quicker, identify scenes, confirm if scenes do exist or do not exist. And that's about it for the RTC and quick little summary.
Can I jump in and ask about this drone program a little more? How are you going to cover that in the presentation or video? I'm just curious how those are deployed. And
let's see if we can play the video first.
Okay,
and then,
sure.
We'll go right into the drone as a first responder program, because I think it's probably on everyone's mind right now. What we'll do, we'll answer a few questions about it, because I'm sure there will be some that are pointed directly at that.
Fabulous, yeah.
Sound's not coming across, Michelle.
Yeah, that may be Mark, is there any way to help with that or no?
I think you're muted, Michelle.
Oh, okay. There we go.
We have the dramatic music and everything to go along with
Yeah,
that
yeah,
video.
yeah.
It's great.
Was that you on the keyboard there? Or?
That was Michelle on the keyboard and in one of the cuts, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, our as you can see, we're focused on technology, and as Fuad said, everything is a force multiplier in there. It's not just a cliche. It really is. It helps augment the officers that are out in the field. We all work together. We're focused on where the crime trends are happening. However, oftentimes we get calls where they're immediate and we need a response right away. And so that is really the focus of the drone as a first responder program that we have. And so the idea behind it is that we have most people are familiar with the drones that you see. You might be a hobbyist drone pilot. You might do it in your place of work. We are able to, or will be able to, launch drones that are strategically placed throughout the city and have those drones launch from where they are and respond and hover over locations where calls are being reported. And so the idea here is, as Fouad alluded to, is that let's say we have somebody calling in a shooting in progress, and we want to make sure that one, is it an actual call? Did it occur? And also, what is the environment like that our officers are driving into? And so we want to make sure that we have eyes right over the scene as soon as possible. Sometimes an officer might be right around the corner, but Albuquerque is a pretty big city. And so if we could get somebody or something, drone in this case, hovering overhead, showing an operator in the real-time crime center, a pilot there, and we'll be able to watch the video feed and then provide that information out to responding officers. We might be able to expedite resources to the scene, one, by confirming whether or not there is a shooting or there's a shooting victim. We can narrow our response based on what we're seeing on the video. We may be able to track suspects from that incident and advise responding officers. And in the unfortunate circumstances where maybe it's not a legitimate type of a call, or maybe somebody has nefarious intent and we're being set up for an ambush, that drone can be overhead and inform the officers, yeah, there's no shooting scene here, there's no signs of a shooting, and we can advise them to be careful in their response. Drones have been used for a number of first responder incidents, whether it's search and rescue or whether it's trying to locate, let's say, a missing child or locate a suspect, or just give better information on a crime in progress. And so that is the real intent behind it. We're one of the first cities to be able to do this. I know there's a lot of other cities that are now piggybacking off of what we've already accomplished here in the city of Albuquerque. So we think that's huge. And now we know we'll be able to combine the drone as a first responder program with the other resources that we already have, like our license plate readers, as well as our shot spotter system, which can detect gunshots and determine whether or not they are legitimate gunshots, can tell us whether or not the person firing the gun is static or whether they're moving, give us a good location. And so we really we combine all of our technologies together to be able to provide more information, more investigative leads, more real-time data to our officers out in the field. So I'm sure there are a lot of questions. Fouad, did I miss anything on the drone as a first responder?
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, I'm sure there are a lot of questions about that specifically because I know it's a hot topic out there.
Yeah, if anyone wants to put up their hand, or you can just drop your question in the chat, or even just shout it out. There's a lot of people there. I mean, I have questions, but I want to give others the opportunity first. No questions? Come on. Well, I mean, you're talking about a lot of technology there, and being the first to do this, I imagine these drones are cameras and such, but with the technology that you're adding, I imagine these capabilities will be added to drones in the future. You know, so I know from the helicopters they have FLIR and infrared and all this. I imagine ultimately some drones might be developed with that technology.
Yeah, Floyd, you want to talk a little bit about the technology that the drones come with?
Yeah, so the current drones that we have now are the Skydio X10. This drone is capable of providing thermal images, so we have the capability to utilize thermal sensors at night to scan areas, whether it's people hiking in the East Mountains and they're lost, maybe near the ridge line. We can use our system to scan the ridge for heat signatures. The drone also has a device or a piece of technology that's within the system that can detect obstacles in the area. So it also reduces the likelihood of crashing into objects, buildings, poles, any other structures that's elevated above ground. Um, the system, it's an obstacle avoidance system. There's three sets of cameras on the top and three sets of cameras on the bottom. And essentially these cameras are constantly identifying the environment. So whenever the drone is flying, at that point it's recognizing certain obstacles that's coming to a near. And at that point, if we do come close to a building, the drone will actually stop itself. It's essentially a smart system. So it's almost impossible to crash that drone into a building because the drone will see the building. And as you fly towards it, for example, let's say we're flying at 12 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, and we're coming close to this obstacle, the drone will actually start slowing it down. And depending on which margin you have it set at, because you can set it as near or a medium or a longer stretch of distance to stay away, depending on the situation. So if we have it set at 24 inches, the drone will maintain 24 inches of standoff distance from that building and ensure that it doesn't go closer than 24 inches. And the drone will actually slow itself down as it sees this obstacle.
Wow.
Um, Another pretty cool system that just we just got access to is the parachute. So there's a parachute deployed to, or there's a parachute attached and affixed to the drone itself. So in the event that we need to execute an emergency landing, that parachute will deploy and safely land the drone, reducing the likelihood of property damage or anything of that nature. Another attachment that is I'm excited to use, or we're excited to use, is the spotlight. So in the event that we're um, flying over the bosque or maybe looking down alleyways, we can illuminate dark areas or concealed areas with that spotlight to kind of get a better visual of the surrounding area. Another attachment that could be affixed is a speaker. So we can have pre-planned recorded messages, and if there's people loitering in the area or if they're causing a disturbance and outside of a business or in a parking lot, we can utilize that speaker system to inform them that they are being monitored by the Albuquerque Police Department, and we can, take further steps to kind of increase public safety through that speaker as officers are responding.
And these drones have operators, or are they automated? A combination there?
That's a really good question. So with the DFR program, we have three types of operations we can employ. We can first deploy by patrol lead, which is simply officers in the field grabbing the drone from the back of their police car and then placing it on the ground and then launching the drone from that point. That's considered patrol led. The second is going to be crew based, and that's a combination of RTC operators or drone pilots from within the RTC coordinating with officers in the field or RTC operators that are out in the parking lot or on a rooftop. Essentially, at that point, there's going to be a two-way communication, and from the pilot within the RTC, they're going to inform the operator or drone pilot that's out in the field that they're going to start launching. Can they clear the airspace for us, or can they calibrate the drone because there was a possible malfunction because we went from daytime operations to nighttime operations, which necessitates the need to do a calibration during those periods. And then the third operation is going to be remote operations. And that's essentially allowing a pilot to control this drone from within the RTC. And think of it as playing a video game on a keyboard when you used to use the WASD and the space button, and then the grabbing the cursor or the mouse and rotating the cursor around, and you can move people or whatever game you're playing on a computer. It's essentially doing that from within the RTC. We can control the drone from a computer inside an office from a keyboard or an Xbox controller. That's most likely going to be the consistent approach of employing these drones. And that system, you can also automate it, and the drone will autonomously fly to a location. So we either can manually fly this drone to a intersection or a scene, or we can click on the map and essentially just plot a point and say fly here now, and that drone will launch and maintain an elevation that is preset in the settings, and it will automatically start flying to its designated location.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I did have a few questions here, and I see Rodney Bowe has his hand up, but let me throw out a couple questions that came in the chat first. I'll get right back to you, Rodney, I swear. So will the drones with sensors be deployed in the winter as early campfire detection? I know we have a problem with that, with some of the unhoused people trying to stay warm. And then another one is, are drones restricted to public or private property as far as right-of-way or access, FCC, the rules about where they can fly? Those are questions that popped up in my chat.
Yeah. So the first question, it can fly in the winter. It does have thermal capabilities. So if there was a fire anywhere in the city, we would be able to detect that through the thermal imaging sensor. The second question, can you repeat the second question?
It's just whether they have restrictions as to where they can fly. Is it public or private property that has restrictions over where the drones could be, I guess?
Yes, there's a UAS. It's an unmanned aerial surveillance height ceiling map, and that's going to be our FAA approved areas of flying. And it essentially it's designating certain areas in the city where you can fly to up to a certain altitude. So there's certain areas in the city where you can fly up to 400 feet, and there's other areas where you can only fly up to 150 feet. So that height ceiling map is going to be a tool that guides the RTC operators or drone pilots to determine whether they can stay at 100 feet, 50 feet. And in the event that we need to fly in areas that the height ceiling is lower, or maybe we are a little more restricted, coordination efforts will begin with the FAA to submit special government interests to allow us to fly into those areas.
Okay. Rodney, you had a question? You want to shout it out?
Yes. I was wondering what legal challenges do you foresee or have you run into with the drones and with the cameras placed around the city?
So as of now, I can't speak to any legal concerns just because I haven't experienced that yet. But there's always that question of privacy or the expectation of privacy with cameras, and especially with the drones. What I can say is when the drones are flying, the cameras on the drones will be, they will remain at an angle that only views the horizon to ensure the privacy of citizens in their backyards or in their front yards or whatever the case is. So as the drone is in proximity of a scene, at that point, the camera will begin, or the camera will become manipulated to start looking down to locate victims, crime scenes, vehicles of interest, fleeing stolen vehicles, whatever the case is. But the camera will be pointed at the horizon to ensure the expectation of privacy for citizens is maintained.
So we do the same thing with the cameras that we currently have throughout the entire city. So if you've ever seen any of our city cameras that we have up, they're not in residential neighborhoods. They're not pointed at, let's say, even if we have a multi-unit housing nearby, we're not going to point it directly at that multi-unit housing. We're going to be very respectful of privacy rights of people. We're looking at what's happening in that intersection. Now, if there is an incident that occurs at that intersection, certainly we're going to toggle it and make sure that we capture what we need to capture. But we have to have a governmental interest in it. And so it's going to be the same with with the drone.
Thank you.
I'll come. Jerry, you have a question? I have one more question here. Albert from Silver Street had a question about the drone technology. Sounds impressive, especially for the serious crime. How could this tech be utilized on lower level issues, 242, 311, ACS calls, and then additionally, case in point, the Albuquerque bus driver shooting yesterday, low level can change very rapidly to high level.
Sure, that's just going to be based on the request and the resources and proximity that we have. Like I said earlier, Albuquerque is a pretty large city. We're going to have the drones strategically placed throughout the city so that way we have the best coverage. So we have to be respective of that as a resource. We're also still limited by battery power. The drones will return to their hive. Yes, hive. And they'll recharge and then we'll launch another drone. So we want to make sure that we're responding to the highest priority level calls. But like you stated, any call can suddenly escalate and then become the highest of priority. And so that's where we work very well with our emergency communication center. Our operators inside the RTCC are monitoring the calls, they're monitoring the broadcast. So if there is a call that suddenly becomes a higher priority, then we're definitely going to focus on that as well.
Okay. Jerry, you had a question?
Yeah, so are there any restrictions of going on property like Sandia National Labs or Kirtland Air Force Base, not the runways, or do you have to get special permission to do that?
I think that goes back to that FAA regulations you were talking about. I imagine with all our government entities here, there are probably areas you can't fly the drones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you could probably guess where we can't fly the drone. Hint, hint, the airport area, Kirtland, those areas, Double Eagle.
Yeah, I even heard incidents in some of the flood control and stuff. They were using drones down there, and one hit a helicopter that was trying to do safety stuff. So I imagine when things get intense, it's a lot more of a management situation there.
Right. So we definitely have, as you can tell, we are focused on technology in the Real-Time Crime Center. And everything is geared towards making Albuquerque a safer city. And you'll see the cameras that we have all over the city. It's amazing. If anybody ever has an opportunity to tour the live operations bridge, and we happen to have a license plate reader hit, you'll watch our operators in action. What they'll do is, so the AOPR, the license plate reader, will identify a stolen vehicle at an intersection, say it just passed through this intersection. Our operators will then get onto their cameras and start looking for that vehicle. Oftentimes they find it and they can track it through the entire city, limited by certain areas where we don't have camera coverage. like residential neighborhoods. But they'll follow it and be able to provide that information to officers so they can safely approach that vehicle. They don't have to get into a vehicle pursuit or drive, beyond their own capabilities, just trying to get to that car because we already have eyes on it at the RTCC.
Yeah.
So it's making everyone a heck of a lot safer out there. And we also, like I said, respect the privacy of the people that live in our city and that are visiting our city. But we always make sure there's a governmental interest in that.
Thanks. And along those lines, Tom had a additional question about just that, about the fleeing vehicles. Any experience yet with drones assigned to following fleeing vehicles in order to obfuscate the need for high-speed pursuits? I think you sort of mentioned that just with your operators being able to follow, but would the drones be able to follow a fleeing vehicle or a stolen vehicle?
It would be the same concept, obviously, of course, limited by their flight time. And but for the major intersections, major thoroughfares throughout the entire city, we're able to track vehicles through there. So if we say that we have eyes on that vehicle, or if the drone has eyes on the vehicle, or as our current method with our air support with a helicopter, if they have eyes on that vehicle, then it's up to the field units to decide whether to back off, specifically the supervisor. And that's a really smart thing to do, because if somebody believes they're being pursued, they're going to drive much more erratically. They're going to endanger the public, and it just becomes more problematic by getting involved in that pursuit. Whereas now we can be the eyes in the sky. So we haven't necessarily had that incident happen yet with our drone as a first responder program, because we're still in the beta process. We're rolling this program out throughout the entire city very soon. So I would say within a short amount of time, we'll probably have an incident to talk about.
And then, yeah, the questions are coming in hot and fast here, but Rebecca was asking, when there are no cameras in residential areas, can you obtain Ring cameras? If so, can
We
you?
sure can. And that's a good segue to the other half of the Real-Time Crime
Yeah, we,
Center, and that's our crime analysis unit.
yeah.
And so the two work hand in hand. Our crime analysis unit uses a database that integrates everything together, all of our data. And so that way we're able to put out almost in real time information out to our field units and also our investigative units. So when you ask about Ring camera, so all of us wear a body worn camera when we're out in the field. I have mine on my belt right now, so you can't see it, but I'm definitely wearing it right now. Not recording. So what happens is that camera footage from our, we call it our on-body recording device, gets loaded into a database called evidence.com. That database, then anything that's loaded in that database goes directly to another system that we can monitor. And inclusive of that, I'm sure all of us have been to a store where there's surveillance video. Let's say a liquor store or other business gets robbed. If they have surveillance video, if somebody's house is burglarized and they have Ring camera footage, we will send those folks a link. And all they have to do is upload that video into the link, and it goes into our repository. And in the crime analysis unit, we are able to watch that video right away. Our investigators are able to watch that video right away. So if we see a crime that's been reported, the officer or maybe somebody over the phone takes that report, we'll send that link to you. You load that video up. We're going to check it here in the crime analysis unit. If we have a good image of a person, because our folks are constantly searching the reports that come in and looking for crime trends. But if they have a good image of a suspect that's committing a crime, we're going to put out a bulletin and we're going to send it throughout the entire department. If it's a very serious crime, it may go on Crime Stoppers, and that can happen rather quick.
Yeah.
And we've had it where as soon as the video is uploaded, we send a bulletin out to the entire department. We may not know who that person is, but I guarantee you there's an officer in that neighborhood that knows who that person is. They're able to identify him. We notify the investigative units and say, hey, we have a suspect for you. Here you go. By the end of the day, we may have an arrest warrant for that person, and then we can pick them up and have them in jail. And so that's how quick that happens. So definitely we use ring camera footage here in the real-time crime center, but we use it through our crime analysis unit and our investigative units.
Deputy Commander, let me interrupt real quick and pardon my my tardiness. Fouad, can you explain briefly the capabilities or ability or our assistance with Divert?
Yeah, so Divert stands for our digital video recovery team. We work hand in hand with them. We started that not too long ago, actually, and they've been tasked with retrieving footage from trailer cameras. We have a trailer camera program, and we deploy these trailer cameras throughout the city. That's dependent on an increase in crime or a request from a business owner. And sometimes commanders would request it because they see a pattern in crime in certain areas. So we would deploy these trailer cameras in these areas. In the event that we need to pull trailer camera footage and we're having difficulty on the RTCC end, at that point we would contact Divert, and Divert would send out a technician, and they would go ahead and physically extract the footage from the trailer camera. And then at that point, they would provide it to us, and then we would relay or forward it to the officer or detective.
By the way, that was Anthony Montano. He is the director here at the Real Time Crime Center. I just want to make sure I covered that introduction. He retired once already from APD and came back as our director because he missed the department so much. And he's back here, and he's been a big help in getting that drone as a first responder program moving forward. So he's been huge in that area.
Well, even tardy, I'm glad you joined us, Anthony. I like I said, I have a lot of questions. Marta, you had a question too?
Yes, real quick. So mine's more of like a protocol clarification question. So when you guys are in the real-time crime center and you're reviewing this information, is it that you look at video footage, shot spotter information, and then you deploy the drones to the area? Or is it that the drones are already kind of doing their own patrol, and then what they see adds to that wealth of information before APD makes a decision? I guess I'm just wanting clarification on when the drones enter the protocol. Are they part of the ongoing process, or are they just like a special unit that's added after you have evidence of a crime or a possible crime in progress?
Yeah.
So,
Anthony, go ahead.
so actually, I think it was stated earlier, we are still in the beta testing for our Drone as a First Responder program. So a lot of what you just asked is going to be dictated by what the fifth floor, what our chief of police wants, what his priority is, and obviously what the priority of the mayor is. Right now, initially, the plan is to send the drone on shot spotter activations. So essentially to act as a force multiplier. So instead of sending an officer, we can send a drone and determine for ourselves in the real-time crime center if there's any ground truth. Obviously we were hopeful that we won't find any bodies or anybody with guns, but if we do, then we can up the priority because right now it would get dispatched primarily as a primary priority 3, sometimes a 2, but we're still kind of working that out, and our hope is to eventually send them on all high priority calls. But again, our mission will be dictated by the chief of police and the mayor.
And just to wrap up some of the questions that were in the chat, along those lines, I imagine you have a bunch of drone operators and such. Are you expanding as far as the numbers? And then do you as well use AI in conjunction with some of this technology to sort of help you cut some corners?
Right now, we are not using any AI technology for the drone as a first responder program. We do use that technology elsewhere, but we will not implement that anytime soon with the drone program. And what was the first part of your question, sir?
Well, just the numbers of operators you have, is this something that you're expanding? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you are, but just sort of, is it fully staffed, or are you trying to, well, what would be your dream number of operators?
If I had a dream number, we would have at least, I don't know, 40 operators here in the Real-Time Crime Center. So because we're starting this program, the operators that are currently in the Real-Time Crime Center, they are obtaining their Part 107 pilot license as we speak. We do have a few of the operators that are currently certified as drone pilots, for which Herrera is probably one of the first ones that obtained his drone pilot license. And then in the field, if needed, we have field officers that have their drone pilot license currently. And I believe those numbers are, what, about 60, Fouad?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Oh, nice. 60 officers that have it?
Yeah, so those are field officers, and if we need them, if we at any time, if we operate in a crew-based platform, then we'll use field officers to supplement the operators here in the Real-Time Crime Center. But I'm hopeful by the end of the year, every bridge operator that we have at the Real-Time Crime Center will be Part 107 trained.
Wow. All right. Those are good numbers to hear. I have had the fortune of getting to try out the SWAT's bomb squad drone, one that you wear the headset and fly around with. So I imagine those are the kind that the officers would operate.
I'll let you explain that, Fouad.
Yeah, that model of a drone that you had an opportunity to use, that's different than what we use.
Okay.
Our version or model that we're using, it doesn't have the headset virtual reality style approach. We're looking at either using a controller, like the old school method of just using a controller and looking at a screen and seeing where your drone is, or going back to the remote operations approach, which is essentially being used from a computer. So controlling a drone just from a keyboard or an Xbox controller.
Wow. Well, I imagine you have other aspects of the RTCC to talk about other than these drones, but we definitely generated a lot of questions with them. I didn't want to cut you off if there was more that you had planned on presenting other than the drone conversation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the drone as a first responder program, like Director Montano said, it is in the beta process right now, or in the beta status. We have had drones being launched by officers, mainly from the back of their patrol vehicles, and they've been successful. So we're trying to build on that success here, and that's what Director Montano and Bridge Manager Sherrar have been working diligently at to expand that program here. So nobody knows this, but outside this meeting, but they're owed a huge debt of gratitude because of their efforts and what they've done to really move this program forward and get it to where it's at right now.
It's a great program. I just wonder if you could have a diversion, some criminals set up some diversion type deals to distract the police drones.
Or to affect the drones. I understand, yeah. Are there defensive things that you have to look out in the community that might affect these drones?
You want to answer?
Yeah, I think I think historically, if you look around the country, I think there's been cases where people have used BB guns or actual firearms to shoot at drones. There's really nothing against defending against something like that except just gaining altitude. I think at the altitudes we'll be flying, we'll be fine. And as far as capabilities of detection, the drone has a capability that it can detect other aircrafts in the area. So in the event that there is a helicopter or an airplane flying, we would see that through the alert system, and we can go ahead and avoid that and maneuver out of the way to make sure that we're not going to cause an in-air collision.
Yeah. Well, like I said, if there are other things, I wanted you to be able to talk about them before our time is up.
Yeah, so really what we do in the crime analysis unit is we're not just data pullers. We're not just pulling numbers out of a computer and giving them to our area commanders. Our folks are working really hard every day to identify crime trends, to identify prolific offenders. They're reading a lot of the reports that are out there. They're using that information and getting it out to the area commanders, getting it out to the investigative units. Just yesterday, we had one of our analysts identify a robbery suspect that had actually been captured on video in two other incidents that weren't necessarily robberies, but are going to be a big help to try to identify that person because of the different angles that we have. So they're working every day to provide the best information to our area commanders. And I talked about it, or I mentioned it earlier. We have a ComStat program here. We call it Duke City Stats. I'm sure some of you are familiar with a ComStat program. It is mainly where we hold the area commanders accountable. We'll provide crime information. We'll focus on if there is a crime category, like let's say residential burglaries are high in a specific area command in the city. We want to know why. We want to find out. We want the area commander to know why. But what we're doing here at the crime analysis unit is looking at the crime trends, looking at possible suspects, people who live in that area, any clues that we're seeing, any videos that are uploaded that maybe we can connect one crime to another. And we're doing that with all crime types, not just property crime, but violent crime as well. And we've seen huge success so far through the year. I'm sure if some of you have access to the internet, you can go to the City of Albuquerque crime data transparency page. I don't know if the latest is up there, but you can certainly see that crime trends are down for the year compared to last year. So we're making a huge impact. We're providing information out, not necessarily, not just to the public, but also internally to our officers and getting it as real time as possible. So that way they know what to look for. They're not, just going from call to call, but they're doing it with a purpose, knowing one, what they're getting into at that call, and two, maybe some crime that they should, or crime trends or crime problems that they should try to address when they're not responding to those calls or when they're on their way to those calls.
And just another quick comment here. There was the grant program previously for cameras. I wasn't sure if that was something that was going to be extended or added again to add some capability. But even to the idea of our case, what other recommendations or things can you suggest that can help you help us with the idea of these cameras? How can we use the cameras to sort of prevent crime or stop it before it happens, as opposed to solving the crime after the fact? Does that make sense?
Sure. So each of the area commands has a crime prevention specialist. You can reach out to the area commands and work with that crime prevention specialist to identify areas where you can maybe improve or make your home more secure. It's not going to be foolproof. If somebody wants to commit a crime and they're really determined, they're probably going to at some point succeed in it, but we're going to do our best to try to stop it, to try to prevent it. And if the crime occurs, then we're going to solve it and hold that person accountable in the criminal justice system. So things that they can do in their own home. One thing that I've noticed that is very successful are and I know Ring is proprietary, but any type of image that we can get, whether it's video, still photo of a potential suspect or somebody that's breaking into their home, is huge for us because we can take that image and we can send it out to everyone and try to identify that person. You may have seen, so internally we have a crime bulletins that we send
Yeah.
out, but we also have a lot of success with Crime Stoppers in identifying suspects or collecting suspect or crime information because of those crime bulletins that go out. And so just having some sort of a camera system within their home is, to use Floyd's words, a force multiplier.
Thank you. And I don't want to, you had also mentioned technology like the shot spotter and other things that you're utilizing. Was there more that you wanted to mention about that technology?
It's huge for us because it allows us. So I've been doing this almost 30 years now. When you're a young officer and you get a call of shots fired, you might go there, you might not. You're wondering, did the person hear fireworks? Did they actually hear gunfire? Maybe you're looking for, well, I should wait until I hear multiple reports of gunfire before I have more confidence that it was actually gunfire. ShotSpotter uses a system to be able to identify those gunshots and within a pretty slim measure of accuracy where that gunfire came from, whether it was moving, whether the person was standing still. And so it does one of two, it does multiple things really. One, it tells the officers, hey, you might want to focus on this area. It's definitely gunfire. The person's moving or the person's still. If they're moving, you might be thinking, like, is this a drive-by type situation? Should I be looking for a car while I'm driving to this call? And so that's huge. That's good information to have. The other thing is that if we find evidence of a shooting, whether it's shell casings or other types of gunfire evidence, we can submit that to a lab and we can connect one shooting incident to another and then to another, and that can help us with our investigation. So we have basically a timestamp that when the shooting occurred and both date and time, and then we can connect those guns through our scientific investigations division and their ability to test that gun or that firearm or that bullet evidence and determine whether or not this gun or this gun are connected. And so we start to see similarities in cases. So it really helps with the investigation. And certainly it can have implications to or be additive to the drone as a first responder program, because if we have that report of gunfire and we have multiple calls, then we definitely have greater confidence and have a higher priority of a response to something like that, whether it's our drone as a first responder program or it's our officers responding to that call in their patrol car.
Fabulous. I'm gonna try to combine this into one question here. Tom mentioned too the bus stops. You had an incident that was in the news where someone was having distress and had collapsed, and I guess your operators had noticed this and were able to deploy first responders to save this person at the bus stop. Tom was asking too about criminal activity on the bus stop. It was mentioned that AI isn't used for the drones, but are there other places where AI technology might be applied to help you identify these situations as they're occurring or before they occur?
I don't know, like Director Montano said, we don't currently use AI
Okay.
in that manner. Certainly, The future is there for AI, especially in more, I would say, on the crime analysis side. It would certainly help us in reading those reports, identifying crime information, it takes a long time for one or two people to read a number of reports, where if we can get an AI to glean what's important from those reports and get it back to us. And that's sort of the direction that we're headed here in the RTCC.
Thank you. Well, we've reached the hour mark here, a little past it. I wanted to give the opportunity for anyone else who had any last questions or comments. This has been I mean, there's so much information here, and you guys are doing so much work. I definitely want to, thank you for the effort to use this technology to make us safer, and as you guys mentioned, create a force multiplier for our officers. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Here in the audience. Yeah. Go ahead, Jerry.
Two quick things. So one, if you find gun casings, do you call 311 or 242 cops to report it, to have them come picked up?
Yeah. He was asking about casings that might be found after the fact as a civilian.
I would start with the 242 cops, the non-emergency number, and they can route you to the appropriate person. If you call 311, that's certainly it's important for other city services, but it could be something that we immediately want to go out and collect right away. So the best way to get our officers dispatched out, if it's an emergency, obviously 911, but otherwise 242 cops.
Okay.
And if someone wants to take a tour of the bridge, how do you coordinate that?
Yeah, you had mentioned a tour of your facility. Yeah, how would someone go about doing that? I'm sure it's very impressive to see.
They'd have to request it. We get groups that are affiliated with the department. You'd have to make that request through our chain of command. I can provide you with my information if people want to send that out, and then it would be on a case-by-case basis. They would have to go through a process of one, we'd have to get permission to have those folks in our facility, because we do have sensitive information here, especially up on our screen. So we have to make sure that we do have that approval, and then we'd have to put somebody through just a really quick background check, just to make sure that they don't have any felony convictions, they're not wanted anywhere. But the best way to go about it is if you are part of an affiliated group with the city and you have a specific interest in it, like we've had different departments within the city take tours. And that's where we've had a lot of success with bringing folks in.
Probably with the CPCs and such as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we could probably talk about the technology you guys are using for another hour and ask a bunch of questions. But again, I just want to share my appreciation for all the hard work and creating these programs for us, and the success in expanding them and growing them. I look forward to just looking up and seeing a drone in the air once or twice. But and any other things you would like to let everybody know before we wrap up here?
No, I think everyone covered it. I just want to thank you for having us on and allowing us to talk about this, about what we do here at the Real-Time Crime Center. I think it's important for people to know that that there are safeguards in place. There's a lot of technology, but we're really looking out to make Albuquerque a safer place for people to live, people to enjoy, people to visit.
And I appreciate a lot of these firsts that seem to come from Albuquerque as we solve these problems. ACS is a first, and it sounds like a lot of the technology you guys are using, we're sort of the ones breaking ground, doing it before others. So anything to make us safer is what it's all about. I definitely appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Well, I guess I will wrap it up. Next session will be on the 24th, and I believe I'll be talking about those pesky scooters that are all around downtown and getting a little more information about those. Again, everybody, I appreciate you popping on to the Echo today, and we will see you next time. Be safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We welcome your suggestions regarding any scenario involving future public safety echo sessions. For more information, visit www.cabq.gov/echo.